Well, the crypto market started off the day and the week by kicking Grandma clean down the stairs, as most altcoins are down anywhere from 5 to 10%. Now, this comes as a result of Bitcoin's price absolutely plummeting over the last 24 hours, currently down nearly 3% just within the last 12 hours, which is a huge move for an asset worth over $2 trillion. And in today's video, we're going to talk about exactly why this pullback for Bitcoin and the crypto market is happening, exactly what I'm doing in this pullback, and what I am expecting next. So we have a good bit to get into today, but before we do that, don't forget, guys, in this video, I am going to likely talk about doing some trading because I do have some trade ideas coming up. So if you are interested in doing any trading at all and you want to get up to $10,000 in bonuses, you can check out the link to BTCC down below. This is where I do all of my trading these days. And if you do sign up with my link, again, you're going to get up to $10,000 and lower trading fees, which is an absolutely fantastic deal. So feel free to check the link out down below to BTCC. Go check them out if you want. So let's first and foremost talk about why this pullback's happening. Okay. I'm not going to lie, guys. I do think this is a massive overreaction, and I wouldn't say confused. This market doesn't really confuse me anymore, but I definitely would say, like, it's kind of laughable that the market's pulling back like it is. Okay. Now let's talk about the surface level reason as to why everything's pulling back. Okay. The surface level reason as to why everything is pulling back is because last week we got huge producer inflation data. Okay. So PPI, the producer price index, which basically just gauges like the prices that producers are paying. So if the PPI goes up, for example, it means that producers, businesses, companies are paying more money. Their costs are higher, right? And the PPI came out much, much higher than expected. People weren't expecting this. They weren't expecting to see a 0.9%. I believe expectations were 0.4% or 0.3%, and it went in at 0.9%. What that means is that businesses are paying more money, and oftentimes that can translate to higher inflation for consumers, because if producers are paying more, then of course they will oftentimes pass that price on to consumers. Now, many people are saying this is a result of Trump's tariffs. It might be, it might not be, honestly don't know. But what this does imply is that inflation is a bit of a problem still, and obviously that does concern the market. Now, the reason that concerns the market so much is because people were buying a lot of crypto. The stock market was flying, Bitcoin was flying, everything was flying right here as a result of people expecting interest rates to be coming in September. We got some pretty bad jobs reports come out at one point, and because they're jobless, and because of that, people are like, oh, the Fed like has to cut rates now. I mean, this report is so bad, they have to cut rates. And so everyone just started buying Bitcoin, buying crypto, buying altcoins, buying stocks in the stock market, buying VOO, whatever. Everything was pumping. But the second that this happened, it's like, oh, snap, well, maybe they won't because inflation's clearly a problem. So everybody just started selling. And it's like this weird, annoying rocking chair of going back and forth, back and forth. Oh, they're going to cut, they're not going to cut. They're going to cut, they're not going to cut. It's quite aggravating, honestly. But at the end of the day, what you going to do? What you going to do? So with that in mind, that's kind of why we're here. Now, in the beginning, I said that I believe this is an overreaction. And the reason why I believe this is an overreaction is because there are still pretty high chances that the Fed cuts rates. So what you can see is right now, over on the CME group, there's still an 85% chance of a rate cut on September 17th. Now, I do believe that 85% is a bit high. I think that knowing Jerome Powell is always the type of person, and I say Jerome Powell, it's the Fed. Jerome Powell doesn't make all the decisions. He's just the representative, right? But the chair. But knowing how the Fed has been recently, I still do believe that they've been taking the look and watch and watch and wait perspective. And knowing that, and after seeing PPI, it wouldn't shock me whatsoever for them to say, okay, we're going to give it like another meeting because we just got that terrible PPI data. So I think 85 is a bit high, and maybe the market believes so as well. But I still do think there is a decent sized chance that they do go in and cut rates in September. I would probably say maybe closer to like 50%, 60%, because obviously we are still getting other bad economic data in other places. So it really just depends on what they want to target. But at the end of the day, I still do believe that this is an overreaction in the market, just knowing that it's not like a guarantee. If PCE came in really high, then that would be different. But this is PPI. They don't base all of their decisions on PPI. They base their decisions on PCE, and PCE hasn't come in yet. So I don't know. I just think this is an overreaction at the end of the day, but that's not really surprising. But that's the surface level as to why this is happening. Okay. The real reason why this is happening, in my opinion, is exactly what we talked about in this video right here. So in this video right here, I said Bitcoin hits an all-time high, and I made that video right when Bitcoin hit this mark, like right around 124.4, 124.2K. Now, in that video, I said, listen, don't spend too much time smelling the roses. I said, take some profit off the table, enjoy the moment, of course, but do understand that this isn't going to last forever. It might not even last very long. And soon we're going to see huge dumps, huge pumps, a huge volatility spike, because what's going to happen is there's a lot of emotion in the market right now. And people are going to get super excited, and that's going to cause these lizard people to wake up. They're going to lick those eyeballs clean so they can see this market, and then they're going to jump in, and then they're going to start liquidating people. I told you, people are going to get liquidated. People are going to start losing. Like, you just need to be ready for it. And well, what do you know? We get bad PPI data, and it's the perfect opportunity for the lizard people to jump in and start manipulating this market and force those liquidations that they wanted, right? The lizard people just need a reason, right? And that's kind of what I've come to realize. If you see good news or bad news, they just use that as their reason to liquidate people. So if you see somewhat bad news, the market's going to dump really hard. If you see somewhat good news, the market's going to pump really hard. And it's usually overreactions because it's like a disguise, right? Like, oh, we can use this bad news as a disguise for our bullshit. And then they go in and they just liquidate everyone. If you don't believe me, I mean, just look at the liquidation map, right? Bitcoin hits an all-time high less than a week ago, and look how many more people have been getting liquidated from long trades. I mean, it's actually wild. From July 31st, it's like almost a billion there. We had about 880 million there, 1.1 billion across these 2 days. Just today, there's almost 400 million. I mean, we're seeing billions of dollars being liquidated when Bitcoin literally just hit an all-time high last week. So if you don't think there's any sort of manipulation involved with that, I genuinely just believe you're being like naive, right? It's clear as day that it's happening. And so that's kind of why we started to fall, and that's why this fall has continued to the downside. Now, knowing all of these things, okay, the market's down because people are expecting that interest rates might not get cut, even though the percentage chances of interest rates being cut are still where they were, basically. Knowing that, that's why the market's falling. The lizard people are using this as a disguise to liquidate people. The question that many people are going to have is, well, what do we do now? Okay. And my personal opinion is it's actually really simple. So Bitcoin's price fell to the bottom side of the descending channel back here, right? And it canceled out. And this was a fake out. And then Bitcoin pumped to the outside of the descending channel, falling back in it here, failing to hold right here. And now this is a fake out. And so what happens in this situation where you have a fake out to the downside and you have a fake out to the upside, historically, they just cancel each other out. So the second that we pumped back into the descending channel right here, we had a lot of bullish momentum because we had a downside fake out. And typically, if we would have just faked out to the top side without this, I'd be like, oh, that's really bad. We're probably going to fall through the bottom side of it. Because when you fake out to the top side of a channel, you typically break down through the bottom side. But in a situation like this, where we've already faked out to the downside and now we faked out to the upside, they usually just cancel each other out and you just go back into your channel. And I think in some capacity that does make sense. Like for Bitcoin to just re-enter back into this channel and continue doing what it was doing makes a lot of sense. It cancels out all the craziness that happened whenever we thought interest rates weren't going to get cut right here. Now it cancels out all the craziness that happened right here when everyone thought interest rates for sure were going to get canceled. And now we're back in the we don't know if they're going to get cut range. And the we don't know if they're going to get cut range is this descending channel. The market is just casually trending downwards until the time comes where interest rates are clearly going to get cut, at which point it's going to pump. And so that not happening right now actually does make some sense because most people don't think, or a lot of people don't think, that we're going to see interest rate cuts happen. So if you want to know what happens next for Bitcoin, the answer is quite simple. Bitcoin re-enters back into this descending channel, likely bouncing off the bottom side of this zone, getting rejected off the top side of this zone over and over and over again until it breaks back up to the upside. I do think Bitcoin's going to try to break back to the upside. It definitely doesn't have as high as a chance as it did before. So previously, when Bitcoin was in the descending channel right here, right? I told you all the percentage chances of a breakout to the upside were over 90%. Those odds go down to like 65% now, okay? After a massive fake out like this, your odds do diminish quite substantially. So there is now like a 35% chance that Bitcoin breaks to the downside. But since that is such a lower percentage chance, I'm just going to assume that we're going to still be able to break to the upside until it just doesn't, right? Bitcoin will literally just have to break to the downside for me to be like, oh, okay, it's not going to go up, right? And so for me in this situation, I'm just going to be like, okay, we're in a descending channel. We're probably just going to be range bound in here for maybe a little bit of time until people have a clear decision of whether or not they think rates will be cut, at which point we'll then break to the upside once people think that rates will be cut, okay? So how do I play this? I play it very, very simply. I just redeploy my strategy. So the same strategy that had us buy here, sell here, buy here, and sell up here. The same exact strategy is what we're going to implement now. So for Bitcoin, simple. When Bitcoin hits this dark green box, I'm going to buy a little bit. When it hits a light green box, I'm going to buy a lot of it, and I'm just going to wait. Okay. If it bounces to the upside, I'm going to take profit. If it bounces to the upside, I'm going to take profit. If it breaks out, I'm going to take a lot of profit. If we back test, I'm going to start to assume that we may have a breakout. If we start running, that's whenever the full breakout has now happened. And this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do it over and over and over again. So say if it looks like this for the next little while, right? Something like that. Boom. What am I going to do? Well, knowing that, the channel's right here, I'm just going to go in quite simply. I'm going to buy a little bit there. I'm going to buy a lot right there. I'm going to buy a little bit right there, take profit here, take profit here, take profit here, take a lot of profit there. And I'm just going to play this very simply. Now, you don't have to take profit if you don't want to. The descending channel strategy is good for just holders. If you do want to hold, the best place to be buying is just under that line right here. Okay. You just got to be careful, obviously, because now we have a 35% chance of this not holding up. I'm just not too concerned about it. I don't particularly think that's going to happen. If we go look at like liquidation maps, for example, we have smoked most of those liquidations to the downside. Like, yeah, we could go down to say 112.4K here on the 1 day. We could go down to say 112K here on the 7 day, and we could go down to 109K on the 30 day. But at the end of the day, we can still do all of that while in this channel over time. Like, I mean, we could do that and liquidate all those people. So I don't know. I just don't really think that Bitcoin's going to fall all the way back to like 103 right now. Obviously, if it breaks to the bottom side of this channel, my opinion will change, right? I think we'll probably come all the way back down to say 103 or 101. I just don't think that's a very high likelihood of happening, so I'm not too concerned about it. So that's kind of where I am, honestly. I'm not super freaked out by any of this. I don't really care all that much. This doesn't surprise me. Again, if you go watch this video, after this video, just go watch this for a second. I literally said in this video, like, don't get too crazy. Don't get too greedy. Take some profit off the table because some bullshit's going to happen. And, well, what do you know, right? So it doesn't surprise me. You just got to do it. It is annoying, right? I was kind of hopeful that we would see this market open up some and we would finally be able to generate some consistent gains, but it's just not time yet. So you can't get emotional. You can't freak out. You just got to let it do what it's going to do, right? So that's kind of where I am with this. Whenever it comes to some of my altcoins, I'm not doing too much. One thing that I will say is that some alts are actually performing a little bit better than I was expecting. Like if you had okay, Bitcoin's down almost 3%. Most altcoins in the top 100 are down like 4, 5, 6%, right? But if you go out to say like a random one, like this one, look how, like, it's not really that bad. Like you're seeing your top 700 to 800 down, what, 5%, 6%? Even if you go all the way down to 900 to 1,000, it's really not that bad. Like, yeah, a couple are performing a little bit worse, but the altcoin market is not dumping as bad as you would expect it to dump. And I actually think that's a pretty good thing. So all in all, I'm not really doing much. I'm just going to wait for Bitcoin to make a move. I'm not going to do any buying quite yet on my alts. I'm just going to let these puppies sit for a little bit. And I'm going to look to see if I can get some sort of accumulation going with Bitcoin if we do enter back into the bottom side of this range. So I'll keep you updated on all that does play out. Don't forget that if you do want to open up some trades pretty soon here, I am going to be opening up some trades in this dark green and light green zone. You can trade over on BTCC if you want up to $10,000 in bonuses. And I do post a lot of content on my Instagram and TikTok every single day. And I'll link those down below as well. But overall, I hope you guys did enjoy today's video. If you did, please do not forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And I can't wait to see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.